coming to our talk. Next up is Miss Joee Mejias.
Hello. Hello. And this. Okay lang ba yung noise? Without noise. Okay. Hello. I'm Joee Mejias, and I'm going to share my work and how certain interactions with communities have changed me as a person, and how it was the work that so kukwento lang ako. So okay, so I'm Joee. I'm a mobility designer, and I make music. Also, I organize, I've been involved with organizing events and performances that are related to music and performance and dance. Yeah, and I'm a projection designer by profession since 2009. So, how do we start? I'll tell you how I started. So how I started. So in terms of music, I was in the marching band playing the saxophone, and then singing in the choir with my sisters, and then later on I'm a drummer for bands in high school to college, and then from being a drummer, I saw Fête de la Musique. There was an electronic stage, so may Ortigas. And then I saw the electronica stage, and from there, I had the idea wow, there's access to creating electronic music, and so I started. First out of convenience, so I don't have to carry my drum kit, and then later on, seeing electronic music and kind of converting the drum parts to beats, and that's how it all started for me. And so okay, embarrassing photos, yes. So
yes, I can.
yeah. So ayun, so we were in a band. I was in a band. I started with Tara Synthonices. I went to high school with her, and then we started doing a band while I was studying production design. And, yeah.
What's the band?
Sorry?
What's the band?
Yeah, so I started the band with my sister. It's called Saffron Speedway. Back in 2006. Tapos, ayan, that's the laptop. Yeah, and this is in Magnet, Katutunan, which is such a important, I guess, learning at that time because the owner is si Rock Jelon. He's very, very open to different kinds of things. So this is also where I met a lot of artists at that time, filmmakers and musicians as well. And then my sister was active in the goth scene. So back then, the goth scene is basically like all the, any kind of dark music, diba? So there's shoegaze, there's dark wave or like, goth rock, goth metal, yun. And the production back then was Elysium, it's just mga that's led by Bautista. So yeah, from there I met Nono, as names are for tombstones, and then si John Romero, who eventually is running Ruthless, which is a platform and a sound collective. Yeah, so that's Magnet, and yeah, and as that was happening, I also met Electronica Manila because at that time sobrang niche pa lang yung electronic music. It was like, for me personally, it was kind of weird to be in a band and have a laptop instead of a drum kit. Medyo ano pa ako, nahihiya pa ako. Bakit hindi ako nag-drums? So there was like, yeah, and it's a very small group. So those are the interactions. Yeah. So preview of and so doodle, and then it was like okay. So this is I tried to remember what was part of this resource, fashion art, and doodle. Probably 2007. Okay, so paano ba? So at that time I was also studying production design and got involved with filmmaking through Negro Summer workshops sa Bacolod, and my teacher back then was Technical Yoga, and somehow got involved with the Bacolod film scene then, and also we did the first Cinema Rayon, which was founded by Petico. So got to meet the regional filmmakers at that time. Yun. And so there was that aspect, and then I was also working as in costume for films, costume and production design. So yun yung mga parang communities that I got involved with and are like still part of, or there's always that support. Eventually, like if I have to make a film, the Holland friends. So yeah, there's that. And so as that was going on, my band, which is founded, I started with Tara, and then we also had a duo, which is it's industrial electronic. That was Saffron Speedway is more like rock, dark electronic music, trip hop, and then ayun. So eventually, like a life-changing event happened. My friend Tara, she was involved in an accident. Tapos eventually, parang in a coma, and then later on, she passed already. So parang from there, it was a very challenging time to make music and to continue what we were doing. So at that time, just nag-focus ako sa film and doing projections. I'll show some of it. So yun. So for a while, it was hard to create music and like kind of find that community again, have the sense to make something. So, but while that was happening, I was involved with projection design. So these are some of the works. Yeah. So I work with Benda and then Sandbox, and then there's Edgar also. And then Virgin Lab Fest. Yeah, those are some of my works. Yeah, so at that dark moment, it was hard to kind of find find what's up, like what's next. Pero it was a conversation with Lirio Salvador. If you're familiar, Lirio Salvador is part of Elemento. He's Elemento. Tapos yun, I remember I was like, kind of, how did you? So at that time, they had an exhibit in Italy, and I asked him, how do you do it? How do you do it? Kamusta yung secret, But and then he was like, I'm just lucky na may nagbuksan din, may nag-appreciate yung sa ginagawa namin. As long as you keep doing what you're doing, you'll find the opportunity. Yeah, so that stuck with me, and then that was kind of the motivation to eventually slowly dip my toes back into music scene and music making. So yun, and so that process was kind of a slow process. It started actually with a radio show. So there's a radio show sa Jam, it's called Lost in Translation with Bob and Jesse. So it's called Lost in Translation because it's basically dalawang expat yung host. So it's, sorry, medyo embarrassing, pero sige. Bob is a filmmaker here, and Jesse is part of Gaijin, who's they have a band with Raymond Mercedes and Shinji Tanaka. So they're like, Gaijin. And then, it was an opportunity. I didn't really talk in the show, but they gave me a time to play whatever I want. So somehow, nakapasok sa radyo yung elemento, parang we got to play like underground music, weird music. Yeah, and then also through the people I met, through the films that I was making, may namita ko na si Mark House, he's British. He's involved in like the 90s electronic scene. And then, he taught me how to use Ableton. And then eventually started making music again. And then, so parang, okay, slowly I was making music, and then I was eventually invited by Nono to perform solo, which is like a SYNTHICIDE gig in
I think. I did.
Ayun, 2015. And so back then, kailan ba nag-start yung SYNTHICIDE? 2010. So back then, parang nag-organize kasi yung gigs na SYNTHICIDE, and then that was my first time to play solo. And then eventually, yun, started Joee Mejias, which is more of it's not dark music, it's not medyo iba siya sa expected, I guess, but it was more of a pop song project. Yeah. And then, as that was happening, the ball was rolling. There was still this. I felt I was still doing my practice as a projection designer and film. And then somehow, nakita ko yung ginagawa ng wasak. So WSK Festival, originally it's Fête de la Wasak as a joke. Joke siya about Fête de la Musique. So yun, I joined Fête de la Wasak because I was thinking, because I was doing events and then I saw their work and I'm like, yeah, that's my thing, I'm enjoying electronic music and then projections. At the same time, I was wondering, parang how are they pulling it off? Parang it was very community run, very guy, and I thought that I want to join and like contribute. So I joined Wasak around 2015, and somehow, yeah, that's where I felt involved. And there's a community Tapos yun, doon ko na nabili sila ng hardcore. That will also show you some of the things we were doing. So this was in Pineapple Lab. And then si Daisuke and Yoshi. Daisuke ito na ba and Yoshi Horikawa? Si Tado ko? Yeah. So yung sa mag-start siya talaga walang budget. As in, yeah. So, and then later on, we got some funding from Japan Foundation to do the shows. Ito yung mga ibang benefits. And then, probably, this is, yeah, I'll share some, probably when we got the funding. No, just kidding. Ito yung, one of the things, events that we did, it was in Green Sun. So this is 2015, and then it's called the Relay Robot Orchestra. So at the beginning, what's up was like, basically it was Tenel, Vilon, and then Francesca Kasaway. They were friends in college, and then they started gathering friends and then doing the festival. Tapos nag-start siya dun sa, the first one was at Sini Musicale. Ano ba? Yun. Yeah, may mga event sa Facebook. And then, ayun, and then later on, somehow, so it was very informal. But later on, we were able to get some funding, and we did, and also kind of found a format that works. So it's, the idea is, nagaling siya sa Indonesia, camping lab. So it's like we bring several artists together and they work on something together. So it's kind of a short residency, and they share and perform what they come up with. So this is in 2015, when medyo involved na talaga ako sa wasak. And it's the Relay Robot Orchestra that was part of this. We did visuals and also
we are combining artists and inventors and musicians in the Robot Orchestra, which is first ever in the Philippines to have a kind of performance where humans and machines play side by side against each other in a collaborative way.
And it's Miss also, if you see.
There's a live performance.
So this one is in.
So I have no training, but zero training in arts.
Yun, magsa-talk si Tan.
Always taking things apart, taking things apart together again. Sometimes with the carrying the grace of success. In the Philippines, there's talk of like being barriers between art and science. You know, so science, so this is so
I don't want to spoil that. Yeah, so yeah, I have to do it. Yeah, so we did that Green Sun, like it was almost 2 weeks doing workshops and performances. it's a 360 projection. So at this point, I was doing the projections for this performance. Yeah. There's Nami Lopez and Ermitaño. So yeah. And then after there was a show in the yeah, so that's the Osaka edition's Green Sun. Let's take this out. That's enough. And then because I was also teaching in Manila, we had the opportunity to mount the festival there. So, ito. Ayan. Si work ni IC Notion. And then, inside the black box, there was an exhibition from Japanese artists in student level. Yeah. So every year it would be a different venue, and that's like, you know, a different challenge every year. Yeah, and so from that point, we started to, so parang medyo matagal namin volunteer or nagulong sa WhatsApp. Cheska was mostly the admin, was doing the admin work for WhatsApp. And then we started another platform, and it's called Heresy. So Heresy started, at first it was an idea. So like I said, during those times na, you know, when I was playing the band with the laptop, I was always curious if there are other women who are doing this kind of work, like electronic music. And somehow, I didn't really come across much, except at that time, Joee Mejias, who was doing her solo performance as Joee Mejias to Magnet, and then she was also part of Nasal Police, yung duo ni Pao Martinez and Rhea. So that was always like curiosity of mine if there are other women producers. At that time, I didn't really meet much. Or, yeah, not much. Actually, wala. So, except Syria or parang hindi ko nakita. And I was also thinking how I started. Like, so when I saw the electronic music stage, it was Malay Lopez and the Arvin Cafe. And also the Electronica Manila folks. And I was wondering, like, wow, it was just me questioning, like, most of the, my exposure to seeing someone play electronic music are men. So I was wondering, I want to see, like, other women who are doing this, and kind of like, mostly see, or meet, encounter. So yun, that was always the question. And then, Jessica and I started talking, and also, I saw this project online. It was a Tumblr, so it's called Female Pressure, which started, when 2000, actually, it's a blog where that's inspired by actually what York said, na parang you don't have too much photos of women inside the studio. Because at that time, she was, people were assuming she didn't produce her work. Na parang she's just the artist and someone else is producing it for her. So she made that comment, and that kind of inspired female pressure. And the idea of female pressure is basically visibility. So it's a Tumblr page, and they're just posting photos of women in the studio. Yun lang siya kasimple. So now this is the recent one, and you can already search it by location and genre and profession. That was one of the inspiration. So we started heresy eventually, and because I was already involved in the scene at that time, so I also felt that that there wasn't a lot of opportunities to meet other women, or like to be able to have that space to do that. And so we started heresy. This is our page. And how did we start heresy? We started by having conversations. So, Jessica, we invited Teresa Barroso, who is a composer for film soundtrack, and also a sound artist. And I started like that. It started by, hey, excited ako, parang most of the sympathies at that time was maybe like, nahihiya ako or na-intimidate ako mag-start. Kasi nakikita niyo yung, kunwari sa electronic music scene, puro guys, so parang, they were, there was in general that feeling of, I want to learn that stuff and explore that stuff, but it's very intimidating. So that's how we kind of started heresy, by just having these conversations, and then later on with our shows as a collaboration. So ito yung namin na launch. So this is also in 2015. We did it in Pineapple Run, and there was me doing projections and the lights. Tapos si Teresa Barroso with the sound. We also had Kitty Delano for as the dance aspect, and then Rafael Alas was doing the production design. So some excerpts of the performance. Good. So this performance was created together. Yeah, and we produced it ourselves, wala pang budget. So kami na yung, gumastos basically. Ganun siya. And then, yeah, that's heresy, and then we would do something with some of those posters that we were doing. This is in collaboration with Kababae ng Tao. So there's Tintin Patron or Stat. And then we also did something with the Excon. We did sound walks with World Listening Day. So this is led by Teresa, but also she was also curator for this event. So we did a performance with her. This is Nico from Japan. So yeah, so we had a few international artists who were visiting, and then we would host shows with them. Yeah. And then, this heresy. Okay, fast forward. 5 minutes. Fast forward. As you were doing that, I was also having a lot of space to also create and explore my personal practice. So, we did, projections. This is also with heresy. It was hindi pa na it's in the theater, and then this is also in Papaya. This is for Love and Vinyl. This is in Green Papaya, and then also for Wasak. This is Wasak was also part of the art fair, so it was like parang yun that was the only sound booth. Okay, and then so a lot of work that involves the communities. Okay, so I want to share. So eventually, Joey and I, my project became so I started with songs, and then there was more in touring the Philippines, actually, with DIY. And then eventually was inspired by the communities that I lead. So, nagkaroon ako ng performance with a marching band. So this is in the Excon, in Rojas. It was the Capiz National High School. Tapos, nag-perform kami ng opening sa Rojas. So sa plaza, from the plaza, synthonyms sa rainbow, and then yeah, it was challenging. There were about 100 kids. And then, nagkaroon siya ng ibang iteration sa, ano naman, sa Poblacion Park. With, doon kasi ako nakatira doon, so maraming marching band doon. Tapos, yeah, got them involved. Okay.
Did you write a piece for them?
Yeah, there's a... And then... ito last na. Sorry Di ba tayo yung last? So ito, self-produced na launch ng album. So this is when I started incorporating like theater and visual art. Like Joee Mejias, she did and Multiverse did the projections. Hindi ko pa siya na-release. Sa kanina. Yun. Tapos, every song had like a set. Yeah, so yun yung nangyaring exploration sa Joey and I. As, you know, we were doing hairs and whatnot. So, yeah. Maraming, check nila yung Instagram. So, ang last part is, so going back, finding the community. So, wasak. Diba? So, wasak. It went on until 10 years. So, the 10th year, 19. And so I started with friends who were running the thing together. Tapos, the 10th year became the last. I guess at that point, parang, and I guess this happens, maybe we can discuss later on. What happened there is like, okay, it's time to change and do something else. There's like, you know, for people were involved, it was parang and for me, personally, parang, for me, medyo late ako sumali, so parang game pa ako. Yeah, let's do it. No, come on, let's go. So, there was heresy, pero from there, parang medyo nag-lie-low na rin during the pandemic. But still, the plan is to make it, to focus more on workshops and, you know, building the interactions again, like the community again, and actually, like, you know, doing things together. You know, I can say na parang first, since that time when heresy started, you know, the talks are and they change. But, and honestly, like for me, yung, I didn't want it to be too political or, so, but there's still a need. So we still want to do that. And yeah, that's what happened then. So Wasak. But Wasak was still involved with this project. It's called Sonic. And Sonic is last na. So ito yung Sonic. It's a built-in institutions project which was initiated by 4 organizations from Southeast Asia. There's Wasak, Play Freely from Singapore, Lock the Rock, who's running the label in Jakarta. Yeah. And CPM Festival from Berlin. Yeah, yes, no way. Sa Indonesia. So, again, yung Wasak, 10 years, parang that was the last one, and then we still had to continue this project. It's a multi-year project. Tapos wala na rin sumumo. So, ako yung naiwan. Parang gano'n. And I got sent to Myanmar during the pandemic, the beginning of the pandemic, and got stuck there actually during the beginning of the pandemic for 4 months. But yeah, this project still continued because it's about 3 years, and hindi na ako yung representative. But this my point is, I met a lot of people in Sonic. I also met, the founder, one of the founders of Female Pressure, which was very inspiring for me, CEGF. And then we did Sonic Wilderness together, which is an all-women residency. Yeah, and I met those people. I met a lot of people through the platforms, and I was also in SYNTHICIDE, what started. That was my first gig. So yeah, and parang kahit mahirap yung mga times na you're working with a lot of people, and some people might want to quit or give up. Somehow, like for me, I've shared, my big focus, but it's really, it really helped me as a person and changed me. Yeah. Meron siyang, good. Okay, yeah, that's it.